Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Young Bo Easy, and you are now tuned in to the Knicks Vibes. On this beautiful Sunday, not necessarily beautiful, it's kind of chilly out there, man, for you people that live up in the Northeastern. Alright, but we done had another Knicks game today. This time against the Phoenix Suns as we continue this brutal, brutal West Coast trip. Phoenix Suns 116, the Knicks 95. Tough game, man. We're going to get into it, but before we do, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say like, comment, subscribe, share with your peoples, man. I truly appreciate it, man. For those of you returning, thank you very much. I'm truly grateful, man. For those of you that I knew, I hope you plan to stick around, man. Got some good shows constantly coming every time there's a game. I'm going to try to keep it as consistent as possible and do every post game. All right. For various reasons, sometimes I don't check in for certain games, but hey, man, I'm gonna try to come in and keep it as consistent as possible, like I said before. All right, now let's get into this game, man. It was a tough one, tough loss, but it wasn't, you know, all that the score says. It was a good game starting out, and then uh, things took a turn, and I'm gonna definitely give you that breakdown. So let's get into it. All right, that first half was really, really good, man. I think we played great, honestly. We went into the half only down 3 points. I believe it was like 52 to 55. Yeah, like I think we played phenomenal defense. We kept the Suns under 60 points at the half. This is a team that's top 10, and I believe offense and defense. You know what I'm saying? So I was pretty happy with what I saw first half. Um, we had a few people that we let get into a rhythm. They had a few guys that they was able to get into a rhythm. They like campaign. Uh, Mikal Bridges was somebody in that first half who was able to get into a rhythm and knock some shots down and all that stuff. And I'm very, very happy for him because he's turned into much more of a scorer this season. And that wasn't necessarily his forte. He was always somebody very, very dependable that you could count on. And to muster out, whether if it was offensively and defensively, that's just his thing. He has that wingspan. He has all the tools to be a great defender in the league, and he continues to prove that. But he's actually looking like more of a scorer. He's gotten into that scorer's bag a little more, and I'm very happy for Mikal Bridges. So that was one of the people that could get into, uh, who got into a rhythm that first half. But when you're thinking about the Suns, you know what I'm saying, these are not the people that you're necessarily thinking about. Campaign, by all means, yes. He can get in that bag, but he's not their starter. We know who that starter is, Chris Paul, and Chris Paul was sitting out. And he's been handling the reins pretty well since Chris Paul been out. I believe he's been averaging over 20 points since Chris Paul sat down. But the main name you think of when you exclude Chris Paul is Devin Booker. And Devin Booker was not a factor in this first half, all right? That's something I'm going to be getting into later, man. So the D Rose had a first half injury. I believe he came down a little wrong. I believe he landed on, it must have been Biombo or something like that, ankle, and he was going in for like a little floater or something. That injury possibly, you know, made things take a turn for the worst, especially since we were kind of at odds as far as the depth goes and things of that nature. But I'll further explain. All right, but that third quarter is where things took a turn. It was just ugly. Getting back to Devin Booker, man, first half, he was 3 for 10. He was 3 for 10 because Quentin Grimes put the clamps on him. Quentin Grimes was playing such great defense on this man. It was truly bothering him. Truly bothering him. 3 for 10, but then second half, mind you, Devin Booker didn't even play the fourth quarter because that's how much things took a turn. He was 4 for 7 in the third quarter alone. All right. So that's where things took a turn. All right. So as a team, they had 6 threes in the first half. As a team, they had 11 threes in the second half. They finished the game with 17 threes as a whole. That's how much things took a turn. We was playing great defense. All right. And for me, where the switch happened is Mitch checked in the first half, in the first quarter, with 8 minutes left. Hartenstein got into foul trouble. So this being Mitch's first game back, he came off the bench and he came off much earlier than he was expected to because Hartenstein got in foul trouble. All right. So second half, you gonna go back to your starters. Second half, Hartenstein stayed out of foul trouble, but we got killed on the boards. All right, we got killed on the board. The whole game, the difference was 39-60. But this is where it is for me. All right, the discrepancy as far as offensive rebounds, and I feel like every time iHeart is in the game, the other team, if they have adequate bigs, if they have legitimate bigs, you know what I'm saying? We are getting killed offensive rebound. Like it's inevitable that the team is going to get offensive rebounds where iHeart is in the game. That's one part about his game that I'm not liking. The discrepancy as a whole was 22-10. 22 offensive rebounds to 10. So we had 10 offensive rebounds and 29 defensive rebounds. This is a team I believe every game before this we had something close to 50 rebounds. Either close to 50 rebounds, the lowest we would get would be like 46, but we're always over 45 hands down, near 50 or over 50. We only got 39 rebounds tonight. iHeart stayed out of foul trouble. And when they started capitalizing on those offensive boards, I felt like that was a huge factor as to why things took a turn. All right. So I also blame Tibbs. Why? We know he's good for playing dudes a crazy amount of minutes at a time. Mind you, I said D Rose went down. We already took a hit with Cam being out with he's day to day with the groin injury. Evan Fournier is not playing right now. To put Evan Fournier in this game when he hasn't played the last 3 or 4 would just be, it wouldn't be good coaching. You know what I'm saying? So Evan Fournier did sit out. So we already a team that was going with like a 9-man rotation. McBride had to check in today because Rose sat out. We were already taking a hit. So now you're playing these dudes long minutes, and we weren't able to get nothing out of them. It was to the point, one possession, Torrey Craig somehow, it wasn't even like they ran a play. I literally think they were bringing the ball down. Torrey Craig just came through and was open, wide open, like practice shot open in the corner. The kicker is he took the shot and he missed. Not one soul on the Knicks, and I believe 3 of them were in the paint, jumped for the rebound. Nobody left their feet. Nobody left their feet. No one. To me, they were gassed. I don't think they made it. Or if they did, it was probably like an and one, or they just got fouled. Once the dude from this, I believe it was Biombo that came down with the board. Nobody moved. Nobody moved. And quickly we had to go into a timeout because the dudes were gassed. It makes no sense, and it's like he'll play them in these long spurts no matter the game pace. If it's a game where it's like you got like an Embiid who's always slowing down the game no matter what, you're going to be at free throws, this makes a little bit more sense. You know, because they always going to call fouls for him. He's at the free throw line every 2 minutes. That makes a little more sense. Phoenix plays with a little bit of pace. They're not the quickest team in the league, but they're going to play with a little bit of pace. So whether it's a slow game or a game where people are going up and down, up and down, up and down, Tibbs is playing dudes long periods of time. before they can go out and make that first substitution. Whether it's in the first quarter and the third quarter, because he always does the same thing. So if it's Julius Randle, for example, he'll play him 10 minutes straight before we see a substitution. Dudes are gassed, and Julius Randle was one of those guys in the paint. We already took a hit with this depth. Now we don't have people to go to. Our bench didn't really kick it up because one, we didn't. D Rose went out early. We had to put in McBride. McBride chipped in and had some, okay plays and things of that nature. But once we got to go to something like that, it was pretty bad. All right, so once they got it, them 3-pointers to start falling, it was over. We couldn't get nothing going. We had 52 points at half, and we finished with 96 or whatever the case is. Like, it's not a good game. Not a good game second half. We always speak on being a 48-minute team. This isn't the way to do it. You miss Cam in certain situations like this. I hope the D Rose thing isn't too crazy. It didn't seem to be too crazy. I think they were just playing it safe and checking them out, all right, and saying you're going to sit out the rest of this game. But that was pretty much the gist of it. Once they got gassed and started hitting 3-pointers. Threes are always more than twos. They were able to cause separation, and then that was it. That we were never able to recover, and it's the same thing. We've been playing good. We played good against the Warriors. It's literally one quarter that these teams turn it on, and we can't recover after that. They'll turn it on for one quarter. We'll go into a slump. We can't recover. That's literally the same thing that happened this game. This third quarter, early fourth, they kicked it up. They finally got shots to go down. And we were nowhere to be found because we were gassed. A lot of people didn't show up today. As the next part, I'm going to go into the stats, and you'll see that. All right, so like I said, let's get into these stats. RJ Barrett, 12, 4 and 2. 9, 6 and 2, 4 for 11 from the field for Julius Randle. All right. 7, 3 and 1 for Isaiah Hartenstein. 10, 5 and 8, Quentin Grimes. 27, 3 and 3, Jalen Brunson. 6, 1 and 2 for Emmanuel Quickley. 2 and 4 for Mitchell Robinson. 5, 5 and 1 for Jericho Sims. We got nothing from Obi today. Obi did not show up. No points, just 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 9 points from Miles McBride in 14 minutes. And then you had Derrick Rose, who only played 8 minutes before that injury, 7 and 4. All right, so we go to the Suns side of things. Pretty balanced all around. 13, 6 and 5 for Mikal Bridges. 14, 4 and 3 for Torrey Craig. 13, 11 and 4 for DeAndre Ayton. 21, 7 and 9, flirting with a triple-double for Cameron Payne. 20, 5 and 3 for Devin Booker. I believe he finished the game 7 for 17. So we did our job as far as Devin Booker goes. It's just we could not capitalize once the whole team started hitting threes. Damian Lee, 15, 4 and 4 in 23 minutes. Bismack Biyombo, 5, 10 and 3. 5, 10 and 3. 3, 7 and 2 for Ish Wainwright. Was another person who was able to get open and hit a 3-pointer. Literally his only 3 points. Dwayne Washington as well, 6, 1 and 1, hit a 3-pointer. Okogie had a couple of buckets. 7, 5 and 1 for Josh Okogie. All right. But with all that said, I'm going to go into the star of the show. Jalen Brunson, ladies and gentlemen, 27 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 11 for 21, 2 for 4 from the 3-point line, and shooting 50%. Jalen Brunson played pretty good today, man. He held himself accountable for what happened during the Golden State game. He said he played like trash. Um, and I if you've seen how he's been holding himself accountable, he's always showing up that next game or at least putting in more effort. And he did just that. 27 points from beginning to end of all his minutes played. He was definitely putting effort in there. Could have shot better, of course, but hey, it is what it is. He was probably the only person that was efficient the whole night, who kept it steady the whole night. Other than him, we didn't really get anything from anybody else. We got some good minutes from Jericho Sims, which I'm at a dilemma because I'm not really feeling Hartenstein right now. We to get him is okay. He can facilitate and things of that nature. I understand that part. That's definitely an advantage. He's not really showing me that he can space the floor out. I don't think his percentage is that great as of right now from the outside. So if Mitch is going to be healthy and we're not seeing Sims, I don't know how I feel about that because in these games when Mitch has sat out, we've gotten some great minutes from Sims, and I believe out of those maybe 5 to 6 games, Sims had 2 double doubles. Um, Sims has been playing really, really well, and I don't want to necessarily see him just go back to the bench if Mitch is to stay healthy. I don't know if iHeart is really doing it for me right now, especially when there's teams with legitimate bigs, because they're always getting offensive rebounds, and we cannot allow second chance points to some of these teams. All right. But yeah, man, Jalen Brunson did his thing. 27 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Once again, 11 for 21, 50% from deep as he shot 2 for 4. Uh, Love to see it. He's pretty much at that 20 points per game threshold. And I'm at this point now. I've seen enough to know that I'm not really worried about this guy. He's serious. He's definitely serious business. He's worth that money that we've been paying him. And like I've been saying, every time he's been star of the show, I'm happy to have a point guard on the New York Knicks. All right. Can't really celebrate it because at the end of the day, it's just it went down in the loss. So although he's the star of the show, it's still things that need to be worked out, and that is something that we're going to be talking about in the next segment. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the takeaways. All right. Best ability is availability. All right. This Kim Reddish injury. This is somebody you missed this game. The length and things of that nature, and I feel like this is one of those games where he was going to be able to get by defenders and get into that paint because they may have legitimate bigs to get you rebounds, but they aren't necessarily the greatest of shot blockers. Bismack Biyombo is definitely capable. DeAndre Ayton is just somebody that puts fear in your heart as far as shot blocking. So I think this is, the type of game that Cam could have capitalized on, especially if he got into that second tier of that defense and got near the paint. Could have definitely went and got the contact on a couple of these plays and still laid the ball up. It's I don't we were able to move the ball around. We just weren't able to hit shots. All right. So which is also going into the next segment. But before I get to that, the D Rose thing, I don't think is going to be that serious. Also, we got Mitch back, so as far as the availability, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a problem. It's just now, how is this thing going to be flowing? It's, hey, I called it early, and Fournier is out the rotation. Grimes has played really, really well today. It seems like he's got his feet back under him. Showing shades on offense, he played really, really well. Had 8 assists, his career high. Crashing the boards with 5 rebounds, had 10 points. Shot okay. Uh, and this is what you want to see from Grimes. So if we could get Grimes and Cam Reddish into positions where they're comfortable, Grimes with that second unit and Cam with that starting lineup, Cam is getting really, really comfortable there. I think we're solid, but there's definitely something to discuss with the next takeaway because, ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. We have a problem, all right? Some teams we let go off. And in the NBA these days, dudes are shooting it from 30 feet, 35 feet. You're not going to be able to stop the three-pointer for the whole game. All right? Like, it's just not happening. Any team could give you this work at a certain point, any given day. But we have a problem because we are a horrible three-point shooting team. And our main shooter on the squad just got out the rotation. We can't knock down threes for the life of us. Since this road trip started, I think they said a stat where it was 35 for 125. That is, it's horrible. It's bad. We can't hit threes. And for our main shooter to get out of the rotation, that doesn't seem like it's going to be fixed. All right? We got a bunch of guys that can get into the paint. We're one of the best teams as far as getting points in the paint. I'm good with that. Shoot, we better if we can't hit threes. It would just be ridiculous if we can't do either. But we could get into that paint. But we need to do, in today's NBA, we need to do something about shooting three-pointers, especially if we're going to struggle guarding the perimeter. Either we find a way to guard the perimeter as we're supposed to, or we got to find a way to start shooting and hitting these threes. But with the guys that we have, I don't necessarily see that. So we have a problem. As fans of the Knicks, we're getting to see the people that we want to play. We're getting to see the Sims. We're getting to see Obi Toppin for more minutes. Some could argue we want to see him more, but I think we're getting that because Tibbs hasn't been scared to put in that lineup, the small ball lineup with Obi and Randall when there isn't, legitimate bigs in the game. All right, so we're seeing more Obi. We're seeing Jericho Sims. We're seeing the Quicklies that we knew that was going to happen regardless. Quick is one of the people who averages the most fourth quarter minutes. So we knew that we was going to get that. We're seeing Cam Reddish. Everybody was thinking Cam Reddish is out the rotation when the season started, but now he's a starter. Rightfully so. I think he's the only three that we have, legitimate three that we have on this squad. All right? We need a word count for legitimate. I probably said it like 4 or 5 times already now. But hey, Cam Reddish, we got him in a three. We got him as the starting three, and then we're seeing Grimes. Cool. We're seeing the players that we want to see play. Grimes is maybe the player that can help us heal this, as well as IQ. But we need to figure out a way to start shooting these three-pointers and making them, or we are in trouble. Because we can't not guard the perimeter and also miss too many shots from three. Like, we have to get it to a valid percentage to compete with some of these teams because they're going to try to shoot you out the gym. 11 three-pointers in the second half. You held them to 6 in the first half. Good. But then 11. And some of them are just pulling from, like, dudes like that got it now in the NBA, and we got to be prepared or we're going to get shot at the gym. All right? Next. This is maybe I'm out of pocket for this one, but I'm getting fed up. I'm getting fed up. RJ Barrett. I don't know. It's either it's excuses or it's the facts. There's been rumors around since this road trip started that RJ is sick. He's under the weather. But Tibbs is still playing him no matter what, 30 minutes. It's only because it was, we were blown out that he didn't play the 30 minutes that I think he played 27. But he's always playing these 35, 37 minutes per game, no matter what. If we're in the game, RJ is going to get 35 minutes to 37 minutes. So is he sick or is he not? And he's just playing like boo boo. Because I'm not seeing what I want to see from RJ. And when I'm looking at the landscape of this team, as far as when pieces eventually have to get moved, I'm thinking to myself, there was a monster being created in Oklahoma as we speak. And that is the only person I could think of in the near future that's probably going to speak of being disgruntled. Some could say Devin Booker is in that lineup, but that's not this year. That's maybe a year or two. We need to do something now to keep us in competition. Now, is this something that's necessarily going to help us with shooting? No. But it can make us a team that's more efficient. RJ, along with a guy like Jason Tatum, these two guys were like two of the guys who get their shots blocked more than anyone in the league, as well as have horrible interior field goal percentage. 5 to 10 feet, the percentage is horrible. And that is your forte. You get to the paint, you body people, and you get layups. So you're either missing these layups, literally blowing these layups. You're getting to your spot and you blow it. Or you are getting blocked countless times. Every game RJ is playing, somebody is punching it. He is getting his shot punched over and over and over and over. You have no lift on some of these shots. Sometimes he's very, very indecisive as to what he wants to do. Are you going, if he's going downhill, bro, are you going up or are you going to try to dish it out? What are you doing? And then sometimes you're doing your job when you're going downhill because people got to respect it. We know you could get to the lane. You get three people to come to you, but now you have tunnel vision. You don't even know when your people are open. I'm I'm almost at my wit's end with RJ Barrett because I want to see more from him. He's always been somebody who's gotten better. He's gotten better every season for sure. 14, 17, 20. As far as points per game averages go, he's always getting better. There is no denying that. But now we need this team has got to advance. We got to make moves. Going into my next thing, I'm going to combine them. This is a good team. Going into today's game, we're 500. We're playing 500 basketball. We've been competing in many of these games against the champs. We competed. We lost by 10, but we were in the game for a lot of it. Going against Phoenix today, we were in this game. Maybe the depth killed us, but we need players to kick in. Like the rotations probably could have been better today, but we're competing. Some games that we're going into and we're complete underdogs, we're competing with these guys. So that's what you want to see. This is a good team. I'm not saying we're competing for championships and things of that nature, but this is a good team. Teams that we normally expect us to smoke by 30, we're in the game. We're in the game. So we need something from RJ right now. It's either he finds a way. If he's really sick, cool. Once he gets back healthy, I'm looking forward to see how he plays. But if this is it, we got to make a move before we get stuck with someone and get mad about it later. We broken that curse. The Charlie Ward curse is done. Where we draft somebody in the first round and they can't make it to a second contract. RJ Barrett made it to a second contract. And then Mitch made it to a second contract. Cool. So now we got a first round and a second round. The curse is broken. We did our job there. Everybody's happy for RJ and things of that nature. Let's go. He got his back. But now we got to worry about the team. You was in trade talks earlier this summer for Donovan Mitchell, but now, like I said, there is a monster being created in Oklahoma. That team is going nowhere. Nobody has more pieces than us right now. What are we doing? What are we doing? Either RJ fixes up or we find somebody who could give us a different dimension to this team. Because you bring somebody like that in, we could go from 9th seed and the way the East is looking right now to a 5th seed. Because we're bringing in a different dimension. You got two guys who can easily get into the paint. You put him alongside Brunson. You got two guys who could get into the paint at will. If Shea is going to handle the bulk of it, we are confident that Jalen Brunson is going to knock down threes. We need people that's going to. We have to knock down shots. RJ is getting open shots from 3, and he is shooting horribly right now. Jalen Brunson is shooting good from 3 right now. Julius Randle is shooting good from 3 right now. Sometimes he falls in love with it, but he's knocking his threes down. We got to give a different dimension. It's not hard to guard RJ right now. It's really not. And I'm almost at my wit's end with him. And I love the guy. But this team needs to start improving. Because we got dudes who were worse than us that went through complete rebuilds and now they're better than us. Like, it makes no sense. Cleveland lost LeBron. Went in the tank and then came back up and now they're looking like a top 3 seed. It's ridiculous. We got to make moves. All right, so that's what it is for me today, man. Next up, we got Thunder. Speaking of, it's gonna. If you watch that first Thunder game, you would know this dude probably had 6 points in the first half and ended with like 30 plus. It's how he gets into the paint is a work of magic. We're seeing Jalen Brunson right now get into the paint, and he is so crafty. We have RJ who can get into the paint. He's just not making layups. Your forte, and you can't execute there. The 3-pointers, I'm not extremely mad because you weren't known to be a shooter. But you're known for somebody who can drive, and you're going in there, you're one of you don't finish well. And you get blocked repeatedly. Like you have to be at the top of the list of guys who get blocked repeatedly in the paint. Jalen Brunson is much shorter than you, and he doesn't get blocked as much. We got to do something. It's going to be a work of art watching Shea play again and how easily he is getting into the paint unless we do something. We got to do something. I really feel like this team is built the right way. We just need to figure out a way to become more efficient until we can find shooters to put around these players and then get a star. We have to work our way slowly. But we need shooters if we're going to keep up with teams in this NBA. And we need to be efficient. We need to be efficient. Jalen Brunson is helping us out with efficiency. Him being here is helping Julius Randle be more efficient. We have some of the most efficient centers in the league, barring Hartenstein. But even him, he's efficient. We got to be more efficient. We have one of the most electrifying benches who can come through and give you, they'll have their off days. Cool. You're good for that. That's every team. You're going to have an off day. But they're like number two as far as points per game as a whole bench unit. So you got a bench you could count on. We got to get more efficient. We got to get a star in here. We got to get shooters in here. We got to be more efficient if we're going to start competing and take this next step. It's sickening to watch this stuff. It really is. Teams shooting us out the gym for a quarter or half, and we can't keep up because we can't shoot at all. These are problems that can easily be fixed. Yes, they were right to sit down Fournier. Very right to sit down Fournier because it's two sides to the ball. But we got to do something. This is unacceptable, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for rambling, but you already know what it is, man. I'm passionate about this team, man. And when you see something, you guys speak your mind on it. And I feel like those of you that's watching these games, y'all see the same things that I'm seeing. And I'm just the one that's putting in the work. So if you agree with me, man, please comment below, man. I would like to get your input on it. But other than that, man, I've been your host, Young, Bo, Easy. You've been tuned in to the Knicks vibes, man. Next up, we got the Thunder back to back. So that's tomorrow, all right? Like, comment, subscribe, share with your peoples, man. You already know what the vibes is here on this side, man. Love, gratitude, positive attitude. And I'll catch you on the next one.